Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 Local News for Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. A fatal collision in Yucca Valley is under investigation for driving under the influence, and the driver of one of the vehicles is being charged with murder. The California Highway Patrol identified the deceased as James Tappan, a 69-year-old resident of Yucca Valley. The CHP identified the suspect as Forrest Stibbins, a 68-year-old resident of Yucca Valley. The CHP says that on Friday at around 3 p.m., Stibbins was driving a Dodge Durango northbound on Yucca Mesa Road. Tappan was driving a Ford Fiesta southbound on Yucca Mesa Road. The CHP said Stibbins crossed over the solid double yellow line, and the front of the Dodge struck the front of the Ford, causing major damage to both vehicles. Stibbins sustained major injuries. County records show that Forrest Stibbins was arrested at 3:30 p.m. for investigation into murder and charges related to DUI causing bodily injury. Stibbins is being held without bail and is expected to be arraigned in San Bernardino County Court today on 1 count of murder, 2 counts of DUI causing bodily injury, and 2 counts of gross vehicular manslaughter. California residents yesterday approved a ballot measure to redraw the state's congressional map to favor Democrats. Proposition 50's passing marks the Democrats' biggest victory to date in a national battle that is being waged over state redistricting ahead of midterms in 2026. The measure will replace lines drawn by an independent commission with a map that could give California Democrats as many as 5 new seats in next year's U.S. House elections. The Associated Press called the race just as polls closed in California. The new district lines that were approved under the measure will remain through the 2030 election, after which a citizens' commission will take over redistricting. The 29 Palms Planning Commission meeting last night focused on study sessions, which addressed 4 separate items. Annalise Kuiper brings us the details.
At the last meeting, the Commission came to a consensus that the use of a property as a smog check facility with no auto repair was allowed under the category of drive-through sales or service, no food, and is therefore allowed with an administrative use permit in the Downtown General Zoning District. A discussion on temporary use permits followed. The Commission proposed that events be allowed for a maximum of 28 days per calendar year, with an unlimited number of events allowed in one day in a commercial or industrial zone. In residential zoning, a maximum of 4 events are allowed in a calendar year. When it came to revising the code to identify which type of events are allowed in each zoning district, the consensus was to be less restrictive. The Commission was in agreement at the last meeting that the number of animals per property should be affected by acreage and not by the zoning of an area. After some discussion, this consensus was confirmed. It was also agreed that reference to land use entitlement permits should be removed and only a permit from animal control would be required. Regarding co-op gardens, it was agreed that they should be allowed in any land use area. The commissioners did not think a site plan review should be necessary on a property with no structures or with structures under 120 square feet. If it was an accessory use without a structure, then no permit should be required. It was agreed that greenhouses should not be subject to architectural review, only standard review by the Building Division. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Annalise Kuiper.
State Senator Rosalia Ochoa Bogue has announced a town hall event to speak with constituents in Yucca Valley and Joshua Tree set for tomorrow. Senator Ochoa Bogue represents California's 19th senatorial district, which encompasses the entirety of the Morongo Basin. An email from the senator describes the event as an update on legislation and important state issues that affect the residents of Yucca Valley and Joshua Tree. She also welcomes thoughts and suggestions from constituents regarding ways to improve the state. She describes the event as family-friendly and encourages young people to share their voices. Senator Ochoa Bogue's town hall will be held tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. at Copper Mountain College. You can RSVP at a link in this story at our website. The annual Joshua Tree National Park Art Expo named several winners at last weekend's opening event. Held at the 29 Palms Art Gallery, the 13th Annual Art Expo awarded cash prizes totaling $4,000 for pieces submitted to the juried exhibition. For the first time at the Art Expo, a photograph won the Best of Show award. That went to Craig Schoenbaum of Culver City for his black and white photograph, Cloudcatchers. Also in the photography category, first place was awarded to Mark Robin of Rancho Palos Verdes for his black and white photograph sculpture. Second place went to Andrew Hertel of San Diego, and third place went to Kevin Flynn Burke of Simi Valley. First place in the three-dimensional category went to Linda Schrader of Yucca Valley for her sculpture, A Little Piece of Joshua Tree. In the two-dimensional category, the first place winner was Sue Feenstra of Joshua Tree for her watercolor, Blooming Desert Road. The juried exhibition is on display at the gallery through November 3rd and features artwork inspired by Joshua Tree National Park. A total of 64 artists from the desert region and across California were juried into the exhibition. Visitors to the gallery are encouraged to vote for the People's Choice Award. The 29 Palms Art Gallery is open from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Friday through Sunday at 74055 Cottonwood Drive on the corner of National Park Drive and 29 Palms. The artwork can also be viewed online at jtnparts.org. And finally, Giant Spiders on the March is an annual tradition here in the high desert, and some late fall heat still has them looking for mates. Here with more is arachnid appreciator Robert Hayden.
It doesn't feel like it, but fall is here, and cooler weather will eventually drop on the basin. In other places in California, that means colorful changes to trees and sweater weather. But in the desert, we have a great fall tradition, marching tarantulas. It's their mating season, and the males are out and about looking for their life partner. The season typically starts around mid-September and goes through October. The tarantula spider may look scary, but their bite isn't poisonous to humans, and they have to be really provoked to get them to bare their fuzzy fangs. You may see more of them right now because males are leaving their solitary burrows and marching through the Mojave Desert to find their perfect mate and create a litter from anywhere to 500 to 1,000 baby tarantulas. Female tarantulas can have a long life, however males aren't as lucky and usually don't survive the mating season. If you see these peculiar arachnids rolling around your property, give them some space, they're just passing through. If one takes a wrong turn and gets into your home, you don't have to kill them. Tarantulas snack on beetles and other insects and even other spiders, but humans are never on the menu. They would appreciate you gently guiding them along with a broom and out the door so they can get back to more exciting and pressing business. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear about news happening, let us know. Email us at tips@z1077fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News. I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.